afternoon and thank you for joining us on Matters Arising in Nigerian Politics today. Hello guys.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good
Philip,
afternoon.
how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Getting set for Democracy Day?
Well, do we have Democracy Day in this kind of economy?
Yeah, we should. We should. Well, you know, the other day I was just looking at a senator, maybe trying to talk about the street lights and whatever the projects they've done in their area, and they're calling it dividend of democracy. I said, well, you know, those infrastructure are also being built in places where you don't have democracy. China, there is no democracy. They have the best of infrastructure. They have the best of all this. Then when we think of dividend of democracy, we look at the freedom of speech, your ability to protest, your ability to speak up, you know, freedom of choice, all those things that are guaranteed in the Constitution. And we have a voice from Delta State, the Deputy Governor of Delta, our Delta Governor Sheriff that just jumped ship from
the Deputy Governor
APC.
to jump ship.
So yes. They all jumped ship. Exactly. So he said that there's this right to protest that is part of democracy. You hardly find those in power in Nigeria, you know, saying things like that, except they are speaking from opposition. A governor or a deputy governor not in opposition as it is today, saying that the right to protest itself is a fractional part of democracy. Do you think he's going to get some repudiation?
No. I think that's democracy too.
Yeah.
For him to be able to air his views as it is supposed to be. He's the Deputy Governor of Delta State. He said when people vent, even on social media, he said that's a kind of protest. So don't try to gag people and make them look as if they can't talk. He said people can talk.
Okay, all right. Let me come to Philip. You know, in the recent declaration of a state of emergency, you know, in Rivers State, we have two sets of protesters. One was allowed to protest. The other one was tear gas. Is there any kind of selective protest, you know, in the temperature that the ruling power wants it? Is that the one that is guaranteed under our Constitution, or any form of protest that is peaceful?
Well, every form of protest that is peaceful is guaranteed under the 1999 Constitution as amended. When the Deputy Governor of Delta State was speaking on the issue of protest as part of democracy, he did say that, look, what the government is against is violent protest. That every peaceful protest, whether in social media or gathering and all of that, is allowed. But what the government frown at is violent protest. So when you talk about the River State, I don't know the yardstick they use to allow one to go on and not to allow the other one to go on. I was it there? Maybe, just maybe, the one that they refused to go on was violent, as it were, while the other was peaceful. If that is the case, then it is right. But if it's not the case, then there's something wrong somewhere that we need to find out.
All right.
We also need to look at the character of this present government. They've been against protest. If you know the bad governance protest, they did all the. I've never seen that kind of a campaign before. They seek the attention of the traditional rulers, government agencies.
They deployed everything to stopping it,
to make sure they stopped it.
Well, and I think it is the duty of every government to ensure that there is peace. It is not wrong for government to avert protests when they believe that if they allow the protest to go on, it could snowball into violence. Exactly. You know, if the government if they are proactive and reach out to well-meaning Nigeria to ensure protest doesn't go on, I don't see there's nothing wrong in it.
Okay, but there were certain cases where, like in Kaduna and Kano, where they were shooting down protesters. Do you call that proactiveness to prevent violence?
Well, then you said they were shooting down protesters. What did that mean? That protest was already ongoing.
So and those protesters were not armed.
What you have not said, whether it was violent,
they were not armed. They were on video.
You don't need to be armed for it to be violent.
What did they need to do? So that
if protesters are burning down property, and
they were not burning down property.
Well, I don't know, but I'm just.
No, we saw the video.
But let's look at it this way. Protesters have said there's going to be a protest from so and so time. Now, we have always said it here. There's what you call right, and there's what you call obligation of the government. Yeah. The right of the people is to protest. The obligation of the government is to make sure that there is peace. They bring out the apparatus of security to make sure the protest is peaceful.
Okay, let me come to Philip. Government should have the prerogative to determine whether the protest, could become violent or not, and say, oh, do not protest at this time. Is it not? Don't they have the obligation to say, okay, at so time the protest might not go ahead, but at so time you could go ahead with the protest. For example, say do not protest in the night. Make sure your protest starts from maybe 9 a.m. to time like 2 a.m. Okay, in this so area you can protest in this area. In this area you cannot. Instead of shutting them down, if you say, oh, we think this protest is going to lead to violence, so when will they protest?
You see, yes, your analysis is very correct. That's in a civilized world. That's
but we have democracy. So why are we pushing it forward? We should be enjoying this civilization now.
Ask me a question, so let me speak. In a civilized world, government should be able to determine how protests should be carried on so that it will devolve of violence. But don't forget, government has the apparatus of information gathering from the intelligence agency. If the information within their disposal shows clearly that no matter how you try to guide these people to protest and air their view, that at some point you cannot guarantee peace. I think the proper thing to do is to ensure...
We have gone beyond that. We have said that. Some other times, is it infinite, improper? Is the time that it will not be proper?
I said in a civilized climate, that's how it is. Yeah. But remember that the information within government disposal, as gathered by the security agencies, are not open to me and you.
Certainly.
So if the information in their disposal shows that irrespective of how you try to manage this protest, there's bound to be violence. I think the proper thing for government to do is to ensure protest doesn't go on.
Which other time? What I'm saying, this time that you think the protest might become violence, is it infinite? Is it forever?
Exactly.
Is there no other time you think this will become? It's like, I want to talk. You see, protest is like, I want to talk. You say, hold on. Keep quiet. It's not your time. You should give me some other time to talk. Protest is speaking. For example, the president we have now is the head of. Let me tell you, there's nobody that can protest more than Asiwaju. You understand?
Or that has.
Yeah, that has protested more. So if you shut people down, shouldn't you give them some other time to vent their whatever the ideas they have to tell the public, or even tell you that it's trying to stop them from protesting?
And that is what the Deputy Governor of Delta State has said, that protest is part of democracy. I don't think it is right on the part of government to shut down people from airing their view, to speaking of their mind in the policy that the government is showing out, if especially the policy are not in their favor. I think it's not right. But we should put into consideration that government, first and foremost, is to ensure there's a peaceful environment.
Certainly. You can't put that aside.
The government puts up security. Yeah. Am I correct? They are the one that has the security apparatus to make sure that everything goes well during a planned protest. Protest is part of our constitution, is our constitutional right to protest. Whatever security information or gathering the government has about protesting, they should let the people know. And also now call out the leaders of the protest and say, this, gather around a particular position. In 2014 or so, or 2013, when they protested in Lagos. 2012, during the
freedom,
they were gathering in one
subsidy.
place.
First time we heard about removing subsidy.
Exactly.
Yes.
And let me tell you that they said it was a sit-at-home protest. People brought their mattresses to the road and slept on the road. I mean, instead of them going to work, some gathered at a particular... Do you understand? So they try to say that we don't know the information the government has gathered, blah, 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 blah. It's trying to gag the protest and don't want... And the nature of all what this government has done is to make sure that no protest ever goes on.
But unfortunately, we might not be able to sustain that as it is, because the other day we were discussing about people being able to select their leaders, people being able to elect their leaders. You know, the only obstacle or the stumbling block we have between people having the prerogative to elect their leaders and not have INEC, because that prerogative as it is today is given to INEC and it's not supposed to be so. Yeah. INEC is just supposed to be, how do I call it, a machinery that's not capable of altering anything. Yeah. Do you understand? So it's just like a channel of organizing something, and just, you know, you shouldn't be able to distort or affect anything. Your input, they say garbage in, garbage out. INEC is supposed to be garbage in, garbage out. So, but unfortunately, INEC wields so much power. And the other time we talked about so many reforms that emanated from INEC, so many do we call them reforms or issues they want to change, some policy amendments and other, over 500 of them. But the singular one Nigerians are asking for is mandatory electronic transmission of our results. And from what we are seeing today, it appears we are not going to get there until we protest. That is what we started about talking about protest, the right to protest, and to be sure that the people in government still understand that it's part of our democracy to protest. Now, let's look at this INEC itself. We talked about it the other day briefly, and it appears as it were, if INEC were to be sincere, the current laws they have, they had actually used it to transmit electronically. Yes. Even in the last election, they did it fractionally until INEC sustained a permanent glitch. Up to today, we don't know what the glitch is. We don't even know whether it's been fixed.
Still glitching.
Fixed. We don't know whether it's going to happen again or statement as to that permanent deformation. Now that they have chosen to make that deformation permanent from the demonstration they have in all the off-cycle elections so far, nothing has been talked about transmitting the results electronically. They have been deformed permanently. Nigerians are not going to accept that. Protest certainly
must go on. Now, you can't, my place, you say you can't beat a child and tell the child not to cry.
No, they will tell you not to cry, because if you cry, it will be a security breach.
That's the issue. That's the issue. You are beating me. I mean, you are saying, don't cry. Hold your mouth. I don't know if you understand. Now, our cries in this country is protest. To let you know that we are not in conformity with what you are trying to conform us to. And we have seen that that's a way of rigging election. I mean, from all the obstacles election that we have had, all these things still come up. For example, let's take the particular case of Edo. I mean, there's been this one didn't happen, that one didn't happen. The beavers were overvoted, there's overvoting, though PDP couldn't establish their case that there was overvoting.
That's what the court said.
That's what the court said.
No, not just only what the court said.
Well,
for example, they asked for the beavers, but
they never used it.
They didn't bring it out.
All right, Philip, let me come to you. In this case, what will the protesters do to ensure that we do not breach the security or the peace of the society? Because there must be protest. As it is now, 2 years down the line, nothing has happened. And INEC themselves abandoned their own policy. What INEC conveyed Nigerians, INEC kind of, which word do I use? They solicited for support from Nigerians pre-2022. And we all worked together to get Buhari to sign that electoral reform. We didn't know that today we'll be talking about electoral reform again. But again, the little portion left for INEC to exercise discretion, they now turn the exception to the rule. The people might want to protest because they don't want to leave that opportunity for INEC to turn exception of transmitting manually to the rules. Why the electronic transmission, which was the real soul, it was the heart of Electoral Act of 2022.
Yeah.
So how do people go about their business to ensure that government allow them to protest?
You see, a group has taken it upon themselves. I think 2 weeks ago or last week or thereabout, they were at the National Assembly protesting. I think this group should expand that kind of protest that's well organized and peaceful around the 36 state houses of assembly, not only the National Assembly. Why they are held are protesting at the National Assembly, the host, so that the message can get to INEC clear. You see, protest, like I said, protest is part of the Constitution, but it is the way and manner with which you go about it. I think that group is doing the right thing. It's not just going to the street that we're protesting that INEC. It won't get, the message won't get there. Who is going to amend the Constitution? Who is going to bring out about the reform? It's the National Assembly. So the protest should be in two ways. They should
So
protest.
once they have it in all the 36 states,
and they also take it to all the INEC offices and INEC headquarters.
When they do
simultaneously.
so now when they do that, I think government will not think they are breaching the security we talked about before.
What is the security? They are peaceful. They are just saying that, look, we need this reform, like the way they did, they carry their placard and all of that. Peaceful. The people, when the lawmaker comes in, they see the protester and their messages, and they're going and they're saying it. Also in INEC, when this Mahmoud and his cause are coming to office, it's peaceful, but the message is being passed. Not the time you go around the street and all manner of things.
All right. To avoid let me come to you. To avoid probably doing this protest more often, we know that the main need of what is lacking in this our INEC is about electronic transmission. But if you go back to Way's report, we want to have some other things that were there, all election in one day, ensuring that the appointment of INEC chairman doesn't come from the president, rather it comes from the NJC or whatever, So a lot of things to establish independence of INEC, Can't we have a way of galvanizing all these requests into this protest, so we don't go for electronic transmission again?
And now start.
And I come back, because one thing you have to know is that I always say it: you don't legislate the heart. You can give 2 police officers gun to go and maybe calm riots down. One will get there, shoot into the air, the other will go there, shoot somebody. That is from the heart. The same law. If you have this law and the integrity of the INEC chairman is impaired, they can find a way of circumventing it. They can use the riverside. What do I mean by riverside? Since you say without electronic transmission, we should not transmit. Then the areas where they know the opponent will win or the opposition will win, they will tell you there is a glitch that they couldn't transmit electronically. Meanwhile, they will transmit the area where somebody they want to aid is winning. So the integrity of the operators of law is also important. Why don't we put in the message of independence of the INEC chairman? Not necessarily Mahmoud is just there. He might not be there before the next election. But
I think it's going on.
Yeah, he should. So INEC chairman that will be coming, possibly all the recs, but at least principal person there is the INEC chairman. How do we ensure that integrity of that person is preserved?
Now, you see, like the first thing you said was that we just take one of it, and the others are still pending. After a while, maybe we'll try to take another one. Why don't we just put all of them together and ask for them at the same time? Now, when they were put together, they were saying this one will go, this one will not go. So they tried to test the ground and unbundled it and tried to this one that concerns on no,
very important.
Let's
and with this one we can manage.
Let's pull it through. But you see, we do also look at it in a very strong way to know that there were some legs in it that were removed. If not, they wouldn't have said INEC should decide what best form for them to transmit elections. We would have made it sacrosanct and said it must be by electronic transfer.
I mean, if you go to bank to withdraw money, if there's no network, they say go. When there's network, they fetch it.
Exactly.
So it doesn't cancel the process.
No, it doesn't cancel the process.
You don't tell the bank, use your discretion to check how much I have and give me whatever you like.
And what we now had was that if I'm sure we'll talk about India, right?
Yeah, we're
going to talk about India. These things are transmitted electronically, and election is declared in one day. Now, from what you and I know, there can be a glitch in MTN or Airtel or all the other network perpetually. It has never been like that. I mean, you say, MTN went down. No. In the next 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 1 hour, it has come up. Now, what the people need to do is that they need to bring themselves together. If you notice very well, the CSOs have been very quiet. They have been very, very quiet. Those that are protesting right now about the transmission electronically of results, why has many CSOs not joined them? Because it looked as if a lot of them have collapsed.
INEC has over 400 or 500 something policy change or recommendations, rather. They called it recommendations. That was the word they used, to their operations and how to move materials, all those logistics and all. But the principal one, that they should be mandated to transmit the result electronically. Like he said, we can still make do with, even let Asiwaju appoint, continue to appoint the INEC chairman or whatever. But once the transmission is electronic and immediately, there's not too much they can do, you know. How come INEC themselves are not thinking that way? Don't they want to be seen as a transparent and independent organization that they are?
You see, I want to go back to what you said, that I'm agreeing with you, you know, talking about who mounts INEC and why the protest shouldn't just be about transmission of result alone, but the character and the integrity of the people that will mount INEC. I remember in 2011, when Jonathan, you know, is it 2010, when he came into office, he appointed some key personnel into INEC. He consulted widely. I remember that Mike Guinea was recommended by CS through Femi Falala to represent that section. If you remember, Professor Jaga and all the commissioners, if you still remember those set of people, you can see form of integrity and character in them, and you see the outcome of that election. I think one of the things the protesters should take along, very key, is the character of the person to be appointed. Because, like you said, if you give the head of the INEC, it's not just the chairman alone.
No, it's not.
If they can't carry member of a political party as it's seen today, you know, and the INEC chairman is the only person with character and integrity, they can easily, you know, compromise him. So it's key. The protest will go beyond transmission of result to include those to be appointed, and even go further to say that, look, the present commissioners, whether their tenure has expired or not, their character should be put into test to see whether they are fit to. Without INEC, we cannot get leadership right. If you don't elect the right person, that is the beginning of problem for the country. So the protesters should do more work and expand their horizon in protesting.
All right. You mentioned India the other time. I think we were talking about India the other day, Indian democracy, the largest democracy in the whole world. Nigerian democracy falls somewhere in the, I mean, we are just 200 and something billion people. But we continue to struggle, and we continue to, you know, to not be in 2023, 2025, and 2027. Mahmoud continue to drag us probably back into 1940s and thereabouts. But look at Indian democracy, the election that was held in 2024. I mentioned it, I will talk about it, you know, today, so that Nigerians will know that what Nigerians are asking for is not impossible. It's not something that they say, oh, you are going to the space, to the moon, or to Pluto, to wherever, to look for the solution. Indian democracy, let me read out some vital points before we start the discussion. In India, in that 2024 election, they had 980 million voters. 980 million voters. Voters, that's not the entire population.
Yes.
Voters. This 980 million voters is more than Nigeria's entire population, almost times, close to almost times 4. Times 4. We say about 200 and something million.
Yes, times 4. Sure,
yeah, about times 4. We're not sure about times 4.
Yes.
You know, these registered voters. Okay, now this population is more than the entire population of the entire North America. And among these 980 million voters, 646 million people voted.
That's about two-thirds.
The entire America.
It's 3 times, it's more than 2 times.
Like
America is about 330 million people. About twice.
And the entire European Union.
I must say, twice the population of America, twice the population of European Union.
Voted one day.
Voted. And now, see the remarkable thing. All this election happened in one day, and result was declared in one day. What is wrong with Nigeria?
Okay, so even the biggest democracy and the most technologically advanced society, like America and Europe, America specifically, the result keeps coming in because it's the electoral college, and all that they use.
And because of mail-in voting.
Exactly. That they even do 2 weeks before.
Yeah, they do. So we don't do mail-in voting. So it should be immediate.
Now they have shown what it means to use technology to advance election. We have never heard that they went to court in India. What they just do is a
normal voting.
Normal voting.
No, we have never heard of protests that
no.
in their elections.
No.
Because if you voted in one day, as you are voting, you are seeing it. What are you going to protest? Why will you not take your case to court so that 3 persons, 5 persons, or 7 persons will not determine who becomes the governor or president of a country?
Just imagine if you send me money now.
I will not send you any money.
I'm sure you won't. If you just send me money now, maybe we should try it. You just say, I mean,
on both ends.
Credit and it has even been made so easier. Look at Money Point, OPay. I mean, they are.
And notice that what created the market for Money Point and OPay was because of the quickness.
Exactly.
Why can't Nigerians create democratic market for their people?
So let's say the obvious and what is wrong. What is wrong is corruption, and that the leaders don't want it to be transmitted electronically in that way because they feel, especially, we gotta start calling people out this APC government. Because this year time the thing was put into law, and it's so bad now. I mean, it's so bad.
Philip, I want you to put your voice in this. 646 million people voted in an election, and in one day the result was declared.
You have not even reaped.
I have a lot of other things to talk about. I have other facts to talk about. I want you to concentrate. I want you to concentrate on this one.
So when you listen to it, so they said they have 2,500 political
parties.
I
will talk about those ones.
So the man said the reason why they're able to achieve what they achieved, they've advanced in technology that every place in India you can access technology, which we are also enjoying today in Nigeria. There's no way in this country that you cannot make a phone call. So if I can make a phone call from the remotest village of my village, which means there's network there. So whatever that is happening with that phone can also be done through, electronically transmission results. So what has happened? It is because the people we have. That's why I said this will include the leadership of INEC, because the money they asked for to ensure that everything was right in 2023 was given to them. And we all went home, relaxed, and look for once.
They were releasing press releases from time to time, assuring Nigerians that this is what they are going to do.
Apart from that, there was a problem. When they first of all passed the bill into law, Buhari refused to sign.
Yeah.
After much protest and struggle, the bill was signed into law and it became the 2022 electoral law as amended. And the whole country went home and said, look, for once we'll get it right. With this mindset, we went for the election and we cast our vote. And they were transmitting results. They transmitted the National Assembly result. Only the president had glitches. So what is the problem? The problem is that the headship had issue of corruption, and that is why the issue of the headship is very key.
Okay, now
because the key thing that happened, that what has happened in India could have happened in Nigeria if not for the fact that the headship compromised.
Yeah. Okay. Let me put it this way. We've heard about coalition, coming. We've also heard about this protest and all that, gaining momentum. But INEC themselves, do you think they should have a quick case study, since they are bereft of ideas as it is? A quick case, because Nigerians in 2027, I can tell you, will not accept permanent glitch of 2023. They are not going to accept that.
That's if they are going to use IREV.
Whatever they are going to call it, the name, press it, IREV, whatever you press it. As the president has said, it happen. That's what Nigerians want. So, is it, because he was just trying to talk about their political parties. They have over 2,500 registered political parties. So it's not like, because the parties are too much or whatever. Okay, they have over 1 million voting polling units. You understand me? They have look at it, they have over 900 news channels, over 5,000 newspapers. These people in everything. Do you know there's one particular village, Gujarat? They set up a polling unit there simply because of one voter. India did that, just to ensure that no voter is disenfranchised. Because of this voter in Gujarat, in Gil Forest, they set up a polling unit there just to ensure that one voter voted in the forest.
So that his voice could be heard.
So is it not time our INEC have a case study? These are facts available. If they think they need to travel to India, fine. But shouldn't be opportunity to for balloon for balloon budget
before it comes in.
Yeah,
You know, if you read, if you're a student of law, all Nigerians law, most of them are modern after Indian law because we all operate in Commonwealth.
We come from Commonwealth, yeah.
It is not even a new thing. So they should just go. They should just go and understudy the Indian
as a case study,
so that they can give us a fair election.
Let me come on that because I don't think we are good learners. As we speak, I know there are some EFCC and NFU workers that are in the Metropolitan Police to understudy the Metropolitan Police. But we have not been able to get it right.
When they come back, they see
fall into the moment they land at the Zigo and the sun hits their head. I'm telling you the truth. So let's not waste time going to India. The thing we need to tell ourselves is that Nigerians are very sharp.
They can do this. They really need to go to India. In 2023,
the books are before. They just
even House of Rep result and the Senate race result was transmitted.
Exactly.
So it's not something that is hard.
Let me tell you
but we're just giving the benefit of that.
Look, there are things that what you call buying of votes. That one is different. Systematically or in a way, even in the US, somehow they buy votes. Somehow.
Donald Trump and Elon Musk.
Even Obama, they were going to campuses, cooking for students, giving them meals. That was kind of a vote buying, but in a more matured way. Now, our own vote buying is, I'll give you 15,000. APC. PDPC, I'll give you 20,000. So, okay, we up our own to 20,000.
And again, those that gave less money will take those that gave bigger money to court.
Don't be calling
court. I said they rig the election. Meanwhile, they only outspent you.
Exactly. Thank you. So, what's happening is outspending. Now, that one is there. Let's leave that one alone. But the issue of people voting and they are saying the vote, we know what we can do. We have just tried to ignore what we can do and don't do what we can do. Those are the issues. Now, on the issue of INEC, we already know that our leaders will not want this thing. If they will want it, the first thing they should do is option A4, which is very cost effective. I mean, it doesn't cost.
And we use it. We've used it before.
And it's at home with Africa.
Exactly.
We can't. We see them.
We see them. I know that.
On the spot.
Simple. Why have they not used it? Why have they not used option A4? So this one that we're talking about right now, especially
they just wanted to preserve some privacy and
which privacy? Which wanted to contest for for presidency.
Yeah.
When we were trying to return to democracy.
But he couldn't make it through
because of option A4. I think he lost at his ward level, at local government level.
Yes.
A former head of state. That's to tell you how transparent option A4 is.
Very transparent.
Very transparent.
All right, so let's get back to politics a little bit. There was in the news a while ago, I think that was yesterday, that senior special assistant to the president of public affairs, a person of Dr. Aliyu Awudu, tendered his resignation. Unlike people governors joining the president and all that, because the president is performing and unifying Nigerians rather than fighting, let everybody fuse into the party. So, and instead of becoming a big umbrella, we turn the broom to, So I have his resignation here, very clearly worded. He thanked the president. So I write to formally tender my resignation as a senior special assistant to the President on Public Affairs, effective immediately. The letter was dated 8 June 2025.
That's yesterday.
Yeah, directly addressed to the president. Okay, so I remain deeply grateful to you, Mr. President, for the opportunity to serve my fatherland under your visionary leadership. I especially wish to thank Mr. Ajuri Ngelale. Where is Ngelale now?
Ngelale has just been appointed into one sort committee.
Oh, wow.
Yes. That the president is the head, but he is like the administrative
secretary.
I can't remember the
okay. Yeah. Okay, so Ngelale, the former special advisor on media and publicity, whose confidence in me, despite a brief acquaintance, led to my nomination on the 26th of August 2023. I am equally thankful to Your Excellency for graciously approving my appointment on the 9th of October 2023. 23. Say it has been an honor to contribute to the public communications effort of this administration. Please accept the assurances of my highest esteem and continued prayers for the success of your leadership and the progress of our beloved nation. Yours faithfully, Alhaji Dr. Aliyu Awudu, Special Assistant to the President on Public Affairs, resigned, in bracket, signed. This appears very, very normally formal, but thereafter he was releasing some statements into public space that I want us to discuss. One of the statements is this. He said, destroying the PDP to leave Nigerians with no alternative is tyranny in disguise. And any president who watches in silence sins against both nation and our creator. This is words from Aliyu official platform into the public space. He also went further to kind of talk about Wike. What Wike is doing to PDP is not politics, it is demolition. And the president's complicity, even by silence, is sacrilege against democracy and God. So his resignation didn't appear to have come from maybe moving to another appointment or something. He appears to kind of have some disagreement with what is going on by releasing this kind of statement. Have more, how do you look at it?
Well, Dr. Aliyu Audu is a very young guy.
We have invited him here.
He's been here.
Yeah, he's been here. He was here.
He was to speak in favor of the government.
He was defending the government. We were almost quarreling that day.
He said that if you give a man a job to do, give him the instrument to do
it. Yes. And because I was talking about the cost of governance.
Exactly.
So he was trying to defend it. Yes. The cost, the luxurious cars, the plane. He was calling them tools of work.
But I also know him personally as a man that tells the truth. I want to also be on the side of truth. Yeah. Because he holds it for the fact that he says, after all, we're all going to still leave this earth. Yeah. So why don't we do it for humanity and a nation that we so love? Do you understand? And I think he has done what a lot of people cannot do. Do you understand? And he has stated his obvious reasons why he's doing what he's doing. Yeah. He talked about the PDP. I think personally we have talked about Rivers. He doesn't agree with what's happening in Rivers. He also agree with the way Wike is brandishing his confidence of
opposition.
Opposition, do you understand, and all that, and a lot of undemocratic this thing. Yeah. He talked about the strategy the federal government is using.
I will talk about that because he made statement specifically on this, Philip. Yeah. We have always said this on this table that I you guys normally blame me each time I say Asiwaju is a Democrat. I've always said I agree.
No, we don't blame you. We don't just agree with you.
You don't just agree with me. So I say he's a Democrat, but I don't believe he's a strategist because what I would call a strategist is galvanizing people to make sure you earn the highest vote in the most transparent manner. So if he's a strategist, of election, of voting, of politics, by now he should have made INEC to ensure that they will transmit electronically, and he himself would have galvanized Nigeria, either by performance, or by whatever language he speaks best, to ensure that most transparent process that we can afford or have ends up returning somebody like him. That would be a strategy. If I call you to present your policies to me as a company that wants to engage your own company, and you tell me how to snatch it and run, I won't count that as strategy because it's not qualified. Now, Ali is saying just about the same thing here. He said rigging is not strategy. I don't know who he thinks might be planning to rig, or who wants to rig, or he has been privileged to be in a place where rigging was discussed. Certainly, rigging is not strategy. Okay? He said, rigging is not strategy, but it is a spiritual sabotage. I mean, he's being spiritual here. He also said, let the people speak. Democracy that kills choice is not of God. Because even God himself preserves man's ability. That's what separates us from angel. Man's ability to make decision. And that is why we are also subject to judgment, because we can take decision of our own. Angels are not subject to judgment because they can't take decision. They just operate on instruction, fiat. Bam. So he said, no matter who supports it, democracy that kills choice is not of God. How about linking these statements after his resignation to the motive of resignation?
You see, I commend Aliyu for what he has just done. That is what every young man that is in this government and government to come should do when you see that things are not done rightly. Even though they are in your favor, you might be living large in it, you should think of tomorrow. Aliyu has shown that, look, he's a man that has the fear of God in his heart. And don't forget, the Bible said, when the righteous rule, people rejoice. The kind of Aliyu are the people that will be in government and the people will rejoice because he had the fear of God in his heart and the interest of the people at heart. What Aliyu has said is that, you see, by my position, I'm privy to so many things that are not in line with my belief, and I don't think they will favor the country. You know, it is clear. You like say, we've said it over and over. When you coerce governor to cross to your party so that you can have sizable numbers of governors to your side to ensure that what come may, whether you perform or not, you'll be pronounced re-elected. It is not strategy. Strategy, a Democrat, like you said we don't agree with you. A Democrat is that person that allow the opposition to speak so that he can see his own fault, because no man is perfect. Yeah. But a man who don't want to see anything wrong in him, he wants everyone to sing his praises, he's not a Democrat. Because a Democrat must listen to what others are saying. But a tyrant is somebody who you must not speak other language than the language of the tyrant. And that's what is playing out here.
All right, that rigging appears to be really very important to him. He also released a statement in respect to that rigging. He said there is no victory in a rigged contest. There is no victory in a rigged contest. It's a theft of mandate. In this case, he went further to probably pronounce it. He said President Bola Ahmed Tinubu must stop weekend now, or he incurs the wrath of God. This is a little bit emotional for me.
But you know, I told you something. I said the reason Tinubu is bringing forces, governors, and other senators, House of Rep member into APC is because of the fact that he feels that the one that holds the structure and they can direct people into that structure. Yeah. And that structure is actually not people's choice of the candidate, but a structure of rigging. That's why you see him talking a lot about rigging. So you see him, now Wike has told us, for example, the leg of Wike is on the neck of PDP. PDP is hardly breathing, in fact, almost life is knocked out of it. Now, not only
Saraki said he's going to revive it.
Who is Saraki? Where has it been?
Our former
Let's leave that one. Because if we want to go to that extent, Saraki was Wike is a baby governor compared to Saraki. Yeah. That's number one. Saraki was head of Senate. I mean, he was in charge. Saraki was the one that led the group, that the new PDP that left PDP
that joined the APC.
Yeah. So where suddenly has he extinguished his followership, and he's saying everything is under Wike as it is right now. Wike said there's nobody that can remove me from PDP. He said, who is it? He has boasted that way. So let's leave Saraki's side alone. Now, on that note, they've all seen and known that the way things are going, PDP is almost like non-existent. The party that Peter Obi used for the last presidential election is in comatose. Do you understand? Then the one that they are trying to use, that's SDP. SDP is under threat. Do you understand? If not for the leadership of Gabam, maybe SDP right now would have been in tatters. Do you understand? You know, so that's why you see him. Come on, he's a media strategist to the president. So he knows more than you and I can know, and all the things that they're doing.
All right, Philip, he talked about there is no victory in a rigged contest. How come our INEC, even when rigging is very visible, they are able to get victory out of it? You know, he talked about me transferring money to him, that even while I disagree with that. You could want to transfer money. The success is not the transaction is not successful. It is not successful. But our INEC, we kept coming back to INEC, and we'll keep doing so because there's no way to cross rigging. There's no way to talk about this rigging without getting INEC involved. How have they been able to manage victory out of rigged contest?
You see, if you remember the statement of INEC in the last general election, instead of those who are involved in the election say that go to court, it was INEC who asked those supposedly lost election to go to court. You see, when this electoral bill was passed into law, it was put into test in 3 states. It started with Delta State, a by-election in Isoko South constituency 2. And the result, as people were voting, the result was coming out. It was clear that the person that won. Secondly, Anambra State governorship election, the same IRS was used and it was clear. Then later, Osun State election. So suddenly, when it comes to the general election was going on smoothly. National Assembly results were transmitted until you get to the presidential election. So what Ali is saying is that when you ring election, there is no election now. If you carry all the ballot paper to one place to print that you write result, was there election? You only elected yourself. So you have stole the people mandate. The people right, you've deprived the people right. That's why Ali is emotional and spiritual at the same time. Because he knew...
So God grants them the freedom to make choice. But you, human, like said, you are gagging that freedom.
He knew what is going on behind the scene. Because, you see, for you to be a media strategist, you are involved in a very sensitive and high level.
All right, beyond being spiritual, being righteous, and probably speaking for the people, do you think Dr. Ali didn't get what he was expecting? He decided to fight, standing on the shoulders of the people, and maybe righteous.
Ali is already an SSA to the president, so what does he need? It's just like Baba Ahmed said. He said, I go there, collect salary. Ali's salary comes.
Dr. Baba will say, I don't do any work. I have to resign.
So Ali collects his salary. Who is stopping his salary? Nobody. Do you understand? As we speak, he's on a journey. He's going to come back soon. And I think that journey was well paid for. I don't know if you understand. Yeah. But his conscience is do you understand? He said to him, I mean, he holds an ID card to liaise, talk to everybody and everybody.
Everywhere.
I mean, I don't know. As in someone that I know, he goes everywhere. He meets any minister.
Okay, so tomorrow, because we do know Asiwaju has a way of, like the other day, you saw Sanwo-Olu and co, you know.
Say your sins are forgiven.
Say your sins are forgiven. No more. You know, because one, inclusivity pays you more in politics than exclusivity. Do you think him? Oh, say Ali, don't worry, come in. Okay, we have seen all your observations. We'll attend to that. And do you still see Ali? Maybe taking up another portfolio.
Ali wants a country that works for everybody. Ali, if I can speak personally on our discussion, what he wants is a country where everybody is well represented. And you want a country where an able man should be a president.
All right, Philip, we're looking at it. I know politics, like we've always said, you don't know what any politicians want to survive in some form. Do you think if they throw better portfolio to Aliyu and say, okay, we've seen your observations, we still want to work with you, because they don't want these negative vibes, you know, they just want everybody to come under the same umbrella. Okay, don't worry, come back, either you retain your position or we'll give you another position. Okay, whatever that are your observations, we are going to attend to that. Do you see Aliyu going back to work with them?
Well, you can't trust Nigerian politicians. If Ubara, who said he's going to lead for the front,
it's not leading from...
He has gone to London to see Baba, and that is not enough. He has gone to Lagos to see him.
But Lagos and London, they are the front.
So, Aliyu appeared to be, like I commended him, but the text you put forward before him is the text to show whether he actually represents what he is saying or not, because you cannot trust most Nigerian politicians today the way they are. So I won't be surprised to a large extent if Aliyu, comes back to the Tinubu's government, because the other day Ajeru, whom he refers to, what's his full name? Ingilali, said he was resigning on personal matter to attend to his family and all that.
Maybe he's done with that.
Maybe he's done with that.
And today he's back to the government.
Yeah, maybe he's done with that.
How many months ago?
Personal assignment cannot be forever.
Oh, so if Aliyu, like you said, he's being given a better portfolio, and he's been told that, look, we are going to make sure PDP survive and all of that, and he's used to come by. So he may have done, maybe his grievances must have been met. So that will be so it is a text.
All right,
let's see whether
let's push a little bit to what
he may remain resolute or he will cave in.
Okay, let's leave APC and Aliyu and move a little bit to the way our governors run our state. You know, P2B was blamed for investing in breweries or mocked in some cases. They used to call him hero or beer man or things like that. But he made a statement recently that the brewery investment appears to be one of the largest earning source for the government today. In terms of employment, they have over direct 500 and link employment like truck drivers and distribution network. They have over 5,000. Do you believe that those who are mocking him do not have access to the data available, or the governments after him have kind of underplayed, trivialized that investment?
Number one, I think the government that took over underplayed, the influence of his investment. Is it government are not supposed to run corporations like that? Yeah. Now, in investing in them, the government can decide to invest in them. You see, a credible government try to invest in private sector run agents with a little portion of what's it called? A partnership, so that they can have some, especially when it's within their confines, so that they can have some level of influence, and all that. American government does that a lot. Do you understand? Try to.
Okay, Philip, our time is running very fast. Do you think subsequent governments should do things like that, or simply provide enabling environments and allow private sector to do their investments?
You see, considering the country we are, the government need to do more than just providing enabling environment. They need to be involved. If you look at the then Bender state, what Osagbovo Gbomudia did in the then Bender state, he was involved in so much investment, which provide employment for the populace. You have the data glass in Uganda, you have the Bender Brewery, you have so many, you have the Sapler plywood company, and all of that. And people were engaged. So for you to encourage, the investor to come into your state, you need to get involved with a fraction.
A kind of a stimulation for them.
Exactly. That's what Obi did. And they are still enjoying it. You see, Obi said, if you know what I went to attract investment, I think that's one of the ways governance should be done, so that the government can attract investment, not make paving road and building some flyovers and you say you are the best governor. That's not governance.
And the unemployment continues to skyrocket.
Hunger and poverty is ravaging the land.
Look at the Econet then when they came to Nigeria. Lagos State government, Delta State government is only the only
Lagos
issue.
State invested in Asiwaju.
And they got
and that brings Asiwaju to my mind. Senator Ndume said Asiwaju followers, media aides are deceiving him, that they are psychophants. That governors are decamping with him, but the masses are decamping into APC, but the masses are not.
Is when the president wants to be deceived. I think I told you guys the story before of a king that danced naked.
Yeah.
The king gave the tailor an imaginary cloth to sew. So the tailor too brought an imaginary cloth.
Yes.
So when he received it, he wore it imaginarily. Yeah. So because the subordinates couldn't talk to him, everybody said, the cloth is fine. It is fine. He took the wisdom of a small boy to say, Daddy, look at the king's private. That's when the king knew he was naked. So until you know that the praises of men is like chewing gum, don't swallow it. Just chew the gum, take the sweetener out, and throw the gum.
If you have to speak for us, but we said it the other day, we saw some signposts along Airport Road saying door-to-door campaign for Asiwaju. But we have said it that the easiest way to knock at the doors of Nigerians is simply to perform. The performance will knock at the doors of every Nigerian rather. So every Nigerian. So if you are to speak for Asiwaju, what will you tell him? do you want to tell him straight, your aides are deceiving you? Spend the next 2 years in performing. Leave politics alone. Or listen to your aides. They are the ones that are going to work with you during the second term election.
Simple. I will tell Asiwaju you are a Democrat, a respected Democrat. What Democrats do is to listen to his people and doing the people's will. What he needs to do for the last 2 years is to perform. His performance will knock at the door and open the door for him to come in for a second tenure. But if he chooses to listen to his aides, like I said, they might lead him to where he wouldn't want to be.
All right. Thank you guys for sticking around. How time flies. I think we'll put it this way. I would prefer Asiwaju to start performing from now, so we don't need to wait till 2027 to remove him. So we can start enjoying they call it dividends of democracy, but I say it's dividend of good governance. All right. Thank you, viewers, for hanging around. This is still Matters Are Rising. Until next time. Bye.